can't just hire people. You can't just onboard them. You can't just train them a little bit and then shoo them off into the big wide world. Unfortunately, as the organic creatures we are, and inorganic stuff, engines, computers, everything needs nurturing and needs looking after and needs servicing and sometimes needs reminding of its purpose. So, here are 3 ways that you can build a big company culture. Now look, there's actually loads of different ways, but I'm going to give you 3 of the most impactful ways that you can start today in building a culture. A culture is how people interact. It's how you're perceived as well externally. It's what your staff members say about you to their family and friends when you're not in the room. It's what people say when people get asked, your employees get asked, do you enjoy working for X? Is it fun working at X? Right? That response is the culture. How they treat each other professionally and personally is your culture. How they speak to you, how you speak to them is the culture. Whether you're going to be high performers or not is the culture. Everything, almost everything in your business, especially when it's related to what staff produce, how they feel, how they're treated, this is culture, and it's a set of beliefs that your company lives by in an external sense. You've kind of got 2, an external culture and an internal culture. They should cross over, really. For Bandit Food, I can say, for example, we do not do half-assed barbecue street food burgers. We do it properly. Now, that's what I tell you as a customer. But then how that translates to my staff is our company culture. What 5-6 things have we put in place for every menu, every event, every prep, everywhere that we source our food from? What are the things that my staff know they need to do to ensure that on this front end, we don't deliver half-assed burgers, right? So that's my external culture with you, the customer. And then there's the probably more in-depth, detailed, step-by-step, process-driven, internal company kind of culture and rules. So for me, the first, way of 3 that you can build a big company culture is to understand and to define your core values and to live by them. So, as a business, what does your company stand for? What does it mean to work for your company? What does it mean to represent your company's brand in public? What are we trying to deliver? Whether that's a price point, whether that's a feel, whether that's taste, whether that's feeding a certain niche, whether it's a product for people who like My Chemical Romance and is very, very specific, whether it's a clip for, a desk riser for your wires, like £1 a pop. Okay, well, what is your vision? Your vision is everyone to have organized wires because wires are so flipping annoying. And that passion against wires, right, is actually what drives your business and what drives that culture, because people look up to you and say, oh, okay, well, he's crazy about wires. Like, shit, maybe I should be, It shows them that you live by your values. It's not, yeah, we're trying to do high quality and this, that, and the other, but we're going to save costs on this, have shit products. I'm not really fussed, but we want to tell people quality. Your staff are going to say, there's a disconnect. It's like with personal brand. You see someone online and you meet them and they're totally different. You feel weird in your stomach, right? Sometimes you feel weird in a good way, like, oh, wow, you're so much nicer in person. But a lot of the time, that disconnect, we don't like it as humans. It disrupts the equilibrium. I thought it was this and it's not. And it makes you feel a certain way. It's the same thing. So I would say identify 3 to 5 core values that you want to stick by. And by the way, it could take hours. It could take a brainstorm. It could take speaking to your management. Don't just think, 3 to 5 values. Ted said to find them. Now I've got them, right? And you look at all the biggest brands, right? And they do a few things, right? They solve problems. They solve big problems. They solve problems in markets that make money. A big problem in a small niche, a small problem in a big niche, they solve problems. But also, they live by their values and they embody them. When a company says, when a car manufacturer says we make high quality products, when a moisturizing company say we make fully organic, natural products that are so good for you, and you read the back and it matches up, stronger reputation, better reviews, people trust and believe in you. The second I see a bunch of shit on the back of this Lush box, I'm uninterested, I'm out, I don't believe in it anymore, I'm complaining, I'm pissed. You've sold me a very expensive vision, right? Same with cars. Oh, you're high quality, luxury, high end, but I come in, the leather's crap, You got that new vegan leather stuff, whatever. Sorry, cows. You've got, like crappy plastic. Sorry, you're charging what? Is not nice. Yeah, and it's the same thing here. The best brands solve problems, but they also live by what they stand. And actually, the people who have the most integrity and who, you want to do business with, you want to be friends with, tend to stick by their values. They tend to have values and they tend to stick by them as well. Now, I think, depending on your brand, your values aren't necessarily going to be serious. We don't do half-assed barbecue. Bit of a swear word in there. And it's not very serious compared to like JP Morgan, who was something like, we make money off killing innocent people through our weapons investments and capitalism and insider trading. And wait, that's not their external, that's the internal culture for those companies. Sorry, we are a bank and we do banking. We make transactions smooth and easy. Oh, so boring. But you also want good transactions. So don't think it has to be serious. It can be fun, it can be quirky, it can be whatever your brand is. And secondly, you want to lead by example, not just words. So your actions will speak louder than any motivational speech. It's important to have that. It's important to have the right words, but being consistent in living your values, particularly in front of your staff, is so, so important. Now, it's a bit weird because you think, well, I'm paying everyone here. I'm running the business. If I don't turn up to something on time, like suck it up because I'm doing a lot. But, and I get like that sometimes. I think, like, come on, let's be honest. Like, I really don't have to do certain things because I'm the owner. And I do also kind of get that sometimes, but as long as the values are embodied in another shape or form, I think sometimes it's nice to have that level of respect and that kind of hierarchy from that. But at the same time, if you are always on time, you are mucking in, you are doing things, I think it also does really help. And so I'm actually unsure about which one I prefer, and I'm still kind of learning it. And when it comes to my mentees and people I coach, the advice I give is tailored to their situation, their business, and their personality. I kind of do a bit of both, like there's certain things that I'm like, hey guys, could you just like finish that off for me? Or would you mind doing that? While I do other things, because I also believe in me doing my strengths, you doing your strengths, People can't market the business like I can. People can't do the finances like I can. So I'm going to do that, and kind of balance it out. But I think it's also how you do it. There's certain ways of still commanding respect, but also living by the values, And I think it's, I'm kind of smiling because it's a bit of a blurred line, and it definitely is a balancing act. And it's one that you're probably going to struggle with when you first have staff, like genuinely. But for example, in the food business, I was meant to be there, I think, just for photos and videos, but we got really busy. One sort of evening event that we had, they're never really busy at this certain venue that we're part of, but this was really busy, and I can cook. I can cook more than, certain members of staff because I do it at home all the time, right? And that might not be their role. So anyways, I jumped in, got my apron on, did a full service for 2 hours or so, giving them tips and tricks, taking them through the menus, which I had a small part in designing with an ops manager. And like actually jumping in for those 2 hours was good because I got to see, okay, this is how it works. This is how hard you guys are working. This is the process. This is why it takes this long. And also, you're wasting time. That's not efficient. Where's the checklist? Where's this? It helps. Instead of me sitting up here being like, why is this? Why is that? I can say, so from my experience in there, briefly, is this true? And also it showed the team, like, I'm not afraid to jump in, I love cooking. So, to be fair, I was like, yeah, let's experience it. I'm not afraid to jump in, and I will do certain things. I do leave a mess in the kitchen and I don't always clean it up. But anyways, we won't talk about that. I get called the Swedish chef from the Muppets, the Puppets, one of these flipping shows. Big Bird. And what's that green frog? Kermit. Hey, Mrs. Piggy. I love you, Mrs. Piggy. I'm Kermit. And I think, and that's probably where I fail in leading an example, is I don't always clean up. But I sure as hell, especially in a cleaning business, I walk around and I inspect that place and I audit it. If shit ain't clean, you're going to know about it. So I still think it works, right? In the method I do it. However, we'll find out, we'll find out over weeks and over months of doing this. But I think for a lot of people in certain sectors and in certain business stages, if you can lead by example, that is definitely a lot better than, kind of being afraid of everything. There's definitely a balance to be had. And you know what? I think empowering your team for me is probably the last point in this top 3. Giving them freedom and trust in whether it's how they spend on credit cards. Obviously, you can check that on the back end. Whether it's, hey, you've got a business idea. Okay, well look, if you think it's more efficient on the fly in the middle of service, go implement it. I trust you as a cleaner to go clean that site and to report to me when things are not here when they should be. I trust you to do that. I also trust you for me to give you the training, give you a spreadsheet, and for you to go away, make some sales, make some calls, do that, learn from it, come back to me with your lessons, and then we go again. Having the freedom also, depending on the seniority here. So for example, in the food business, it's only for my ops manager. In the cleaning business, it's only for supervisors. To have the freedom of, okay, you're not getting to site at 9 a.m. and leaving at 5, you're balancing it out, but it's all balanced over the week or the month in the bigger picture. I'm all about output, not necessarily, the input. You don't have to be there for 7 hours to produce 7 hours of work, right? Like, you can do what needs to be done in shorter times. And so I have freedom with that. Why are you not in the office? Why are you not there on time? No, and I tend to respect that as well with time off in leave, or boundaries, not messaging after 9 p.m. or 6 p.m. and not messaging before 9 a.m., scheduling it on Slack so it hits at 9. So the second you get in, it's there. So I think encouraging people to take ownership, implement things. We had one member of staff coming from a chef background who organized the fridge. And honestly, it's like fridge porn. It looks amazing. Get this guy an OnlyFans for his fridge skills. It wasn't incredible before, it wasn't terrible, but now we're saving money on wastage. We're using things, we're checking dates more regularly. Things are organized properly according to their risk categories. It just speeds everything up, and therefore it reduces overall labor time. And in food businesses, it's all about these tight margins. People shouldn't be pissing around, which letter should I use? I'm in the middle of service, first in, first out, boom. It's there, I know, take it. And when they do stock checks, it makes a massive difference. I didn't say to do any of this. It was noted because they're a driver, if you've seen my other video, not a passenger, and they made this change. I have cleaners do when they go on, supervisors do when they do new business quotes, they come back to me with different things and they've thought about it differently because they're on the job, and I have given them the freedom to say, yo, go show your personality to the client. Tell them about how I am as a boss. Tell them about how we are as a company, And so empowering them from day one in a kind of, I would say, slow, additive way of don't just say, yeah, here's everything, go for it. Yeah, here's company credit card, no limit. Here's, do this role. No. Train them, guide them, maintain them, nurture them. But know that over time, sooner rather than later, if they're good, that freedom and that empowerment will come, because they will make changes like I've given you those examples, which will save you money. And they're not even necessarily thinking about that. They're just thinking, how can I be more efficient? How can this be more efficient? Or I don't like it. This is not how it should be. And I love that. And they can't think, Tej, this is happening, that's happening. I think we could do this, think we could do that. I love it. As long as you're communicating clearly, as long as it's constructive, or as long as it's thought about, not just, let's do this. Massive. And I think people feel so much better. You've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got various different things that humans, and there's a really good book by Daniel Pink called Drive. Humans need purpose, drive, and autonomy to feel successful. Well, guess what? I'm giving you that autonomy. The drive is going to come from you, but I'm going to promote that drive as well. And, you have an aim, you have a goal, you have something to work to. And so for me, that creates a massive company culture. And it's tough to do in certain industries. It's tough to do if you've never hired before. But you've got to look at the outputs, and this helps when you have businesses where you can measure those outputs. So people, those are my big 3 ways that you can change your company culture. If you don't have any staff and you want to hire staff, if you don't even have a company, but you have an idea and you want to get it started, why don't you book a one-off consultation call with me? They're not free because do I look like a fucking charity to you? No, I do not. So if you want to book one in, click the link below and let's see what we can do together, people.